Okay, so it's a little bit after 6. And I'm starting way later. I already had started once, and as soon as I started, fuckery began. It is like, I'm telling you, it's not it's not consequent, or, it's not by accident. It's not just coincidence. That's the word. It's not coincidence. It is an energy that is an interference, that is like we have this energy around us that's interfering. Like my mom said, everything that she touches, she drops. She keeps singing, she drops. I always look at it as like somebody's knocking down my fucking hand. Because it's ridiculous, this stuff. And it's just nonstop. The fucking vitamins haven't shown back up. And it's just nonstop motherfucking fuckery. Just to keep you on edge, or I don't know, just think of tricksters just fucking with you all the fucking time. But then you also have this dark energy attachments. That's what you got to be, aware of. And there's a ton of this dark energy, and I've been releasing it. I don't know, maybe these are ones that are holding on to me, and they make me feel these feelings of bitterness of like, God damn, how long can this go on? When is this whole fucking shift gonna go, man? Like, motherfuck. I swear to God, I can't believe how tedious this is. I swear to God. Hold on. I stayed up to watch the... Okay, I don't need to be cleaned. Go crazy cleaning your own self. Don't start just cleaning me. I don't like to be cleaned. I prefer to take a shower. And so anyways, I stayed up to watch the State of the Union thing, and it was long. Went till 8, and then and I go to bed. So it was way past when I go to bed. It like started when I normally go to sleep, and whatever time I got up yesterday, and it was like no sleep. Oh yeah, because I got up at 9:30, and it was like after that, I was like awake all night. But I know it was in some kind of weird state because the dogs would do something and wake me up, and it would wake me, it would pull me from somewhere. And last night I was so deep. Oh my God, I was so deep in sleep and so deep in wherever it was I was at. And it was all so real. And, I was busy there or something. When you get pulled back, it's like treacherous. It's like, oh my God, I feel so, it always makes me feel so out of it. And so I was like really, really deep. And then they started waking me up. And Stella's just relentless. She just won't stop. And I'm like, please, let me sleep more, please, please. And I'm just like, oh no, we're not doing that. So, and then she doesn't even get up when I get up. She just stays in there. So I don't know what the fuck, man. I swear to God, sometimes I feel manipulated, which I'm sure that they probably are, but it's not with the same intention. But it is kind of on one level because they are trying to get something from you. And so, anyways, hold on, let me drink some more of this. This is my second, my second cup. But I wanted to go ahead and start because I'm starting so late. And the downloading is just all over the place. It can take 5 or 6 hours. It can take 1 hour. It can take 3 hours. So I don't know when this is even going to go on. But, so I was deep sleep. Oh, so when I got up and I went to go look at my phone, it was shocking. It said 5:30. I was like, whoa, man, I slept long. Because normally I'm used to seeing it say 1:30 or 2:30 or 3. Even when it gets to 3, I'm like, oh, good. Like fucking 3. Okay, I can stay up now. But 1:30, I'm always like, let's go back to bed. 2, it's just iffy. It depends on what's going on. But 5:30, I was like, dang, man. And I was so out. But the night before, it was like no sleep. So and then yesterday we were just running around all day doing these dog appointments. And so it was, which Archie apparently got so stressed out, he decided to get my $10 chair. So it's got big holes in it now. Fucker. it was pretty pristine, but it needed to be recovered. So if I'm going to keep this chair, it definitely needs to be recovered. And I like these old style chairs. Like, I always tend to get these, and then when they make newer ones that are of our older style, I like those. But yeah, I like these older style chairs. So anyways, I'm going to talk about what I'm sure everybody's talking about, and all the different, everybody's got different perspectives and stuff, so I'm going to talk about mine. But it definitely left me feeling just tedious on this thing. Like, oh my God, this is so slow. Oh my God. I was so happy, though, where he left us with, we're going into freedom in the golden age. It's like, oh, that part I cheered. The rest, it seemed like, oh my God, I've heard all this, I've heard all this, I've heard all this. And then the spectacle of the show and the Democrat baby childish fucking shit they were doing, and how unprofessional their behavior and stuff. Hold on, let me see if I can just guzzle this down real quick. I feel just tired. Hold on. Okay, now to have that up there. So, oh man, and this morning, I was so stopped up in here. Oh my God, pushing in the sky. It's so weird when you talk to somebody who is in the 3D of reality, and the sky. Oh my God, and who knows what all the fucking chemicals makes it look like that. So I don't fucking know. He did say, like we've already been hearing, censorship's being it's all illegal. Well, tell YouTube and Facebook and TikTok and all these motherfuckers. I still get community guidelines. They still haven't fucking with this account. We gotta do a little bit more. Can't just say it. We gotta fucking start. There's gotta be some action. I don't know how it's all gonna fall apart, but the was another thing he said, and I was like, oh my God, that's so tedious. All these different things. I just felt like this is so motherfucking tedious. Like, we're gonna pay off all of our debt. Well, we're gonna get out of debt. All this manufacturing is coming back. All this industry, all of this, and then, where it sounds like we're just gonna drill, baby, drill. We're gonna take down forests. We're gonna, all of that kind of stuff just sounds like the same kind of shit. Like, we're just gonna be like fucking destructive. We've got the strongest military. We've got police forces out here on the streets and all this shit. And, whatever this transitional period is that we're in, I don't see it in the future. That's what is the tedious part to me, is like, I can see where we're going. And it's like, to get there is fucking tedious. It's like, I don't think that every day you can stay like, oh, this is so exciting. And some days you just gotta roll with the punches and just be like, fuck, man, this is dragging. God damn. And then it may feel like a lot more dragging to me because of my situation. Somebody in a different situation may not feel like that at all. But to me, yeah, I feel like, oh my God, this is dragging. And then to keep your own emotional stability through the treachery and watching this shit play out. And, like, to me, this show, as soon as the Democrats started doing that and then holding up their signs and all that stuff, I was like, oh my God, what a fucking show. And then all of it went together. The things he was saying, it was like a fucking, it's weird when you can see through this stuff. Like, I would assume lots of people can see through it, but it's so absurd when you can see through it. And then you see all these people who are just all serious about it and riding it and all that. I saw this guy who was just doing this video saying, about the awakening and stuff. And he said, if you are, going through your awakening and whatever, and you get super triggered by politics, then you are not awake. And he was saying, if you're somebody who gets really triggered by this stuff that they say, and you get really triggered and you're going out fighting with people, arguing, cutting family members off and everything, you're way too caught up in the distraction. And Which I totally, yeah, it's totally, because you do. That's the thing, is you watch this ridiculousness, and then you see the people who are all caught up in it. It's just like, I don't even understand your level. I don't understand the vibration you're at. I don't understand it. And I know it all has to go. It all has to happen this way and stuff. And, this is, yeah, okay. It's like the front runners, the people who were waking up first, the ones who were talking crazy to everybody, trying to get other people to wake up, that energy was going. Like, that's a real thing. The people really woke up first, and energetically it started pulling the others. I think if you look up the study about the 100th monkey, it kind of makes you see, anyways, it made me see the connection that we all have. And it's an energetic kind of a psychic kind of connection we have, because you got to remember that this is an illusion. You're a ball of energy, and your ball of energy is connected to all the other balls of energy like a grid system. That's why you're at the exact same place at the exact same time. Why everything is so perfect is because you have these attachments, these I don't want to say entanglements, because those seem like kind of self-created by ignorance and emotional stuff, like what this guy's saying. Like, you're gonna fight with people over the illusion. You're gonna get all pissed off and hate people. I mean, you got extreme people who, go to way more extreme than just arguing with people. This is like, I still have a wheeze, like a tightness in my chest. And coughing and sneezing and stopped up. Let's see what else. The headaches come and go. Dizziness comes and goes. Either you have a really heavy sleep, or you can't sleep at all. It's like everything is just like this electric. And so think about that we are all in this connection. So all this energy we feel all of the tension and all of this stuff as it's going. So even if you are like, not bothered by it with it, but to me, I do have the thing where it's like, oh my God, how long is this going to drag on? And this has got to be a big catalyst, because it has to have a moral sense. You got to remember, this is like creating a moral sense of what is okay with you, what's right and what's wrong for you. And okay. So when you think about us being energies and the connection, and then the people, when we woke up at first and we started telling other people, it felt like, everybody was going to wake up, like, hey guys, guess what? And everybody like, really? Oh, God doesn't, and everybody was going to be like, woo. And it was going to be super exciting, but it didn't go that way. It went a completely other way. And you were crazy. You were, you had to hear a lot of things that were bad about you. And so, and that was, part of your process at the time. You don't always know, but that's the stuff that you got to heal, like these ways of people, how they act or see you, and how it reflects to you how you see yourself. And then what you want to do is kind of learn to see yourself through yourself, not through everybody else, because it's a trap. It keeps you trapped away from yourself, in little parts too. Like, as soon as people stopped talking to me, I started feeling more free to be myself, to talk and say the things I wanted to say. I didn't feel so restricted by their judgment. And so, we have these chains, and to me, the universe is just always yanking stuff away, and then, kind of showing me or telling me, and then I can see. But anyways, in this vision, so there's visuals. So those of us who were the front line, and we were like trying to tell people, trying to wake them up, trying to get them to see, like, no, guys, really look outside. It looks like we're in a 3-dimensional picture. Just look outside and be like, it looks normal, weirdo. It's like, no, it doesn't look normal. And trying to tell people, look, the sun's not in the right place. God, I've been doing this so fucking long. I've been doing it so long. Oh my God. So, and so those of us who were out there, and we didn't let go. We didn't go back, and we just kept going. Okay, you think I'm crazy? Okay, I guess, pretty much everybody I know thinks I'm crazy. And, the truth comes out. So, but you got to keep going forward. And that is also your journey, your path to your best timeline, because you start letting go of all these things that are holding you back. And so you start going towards yourself, and going towards yourself brings you into this higher timeline of self, because you care about yourself. And and then when you start caring about yourself, having boundaries and stuff like that, that sets, toxic relationships into craziness, but once you keep going past that, because people want to pull you back into the roles that fit, where they don't have to change. Let's just get back to where we were. And you keep pulling, no, I'm different now. And I was that way, but now I'm this way. And I learned, I grew, so now I'm this way. I'm not going back to that way. And you start beginning to have boundaries. You start beginning to be able to clarify, no, that's you. You're judging me right now. So it doesn't feel good to be judged by you. And really, nobody has any room to judge anybody else. So think about that. And so when you start doing those things, it starts changing your relationships and stuff. And you have to stay strong enough to continue the journey, not succumb, because it's easy to succumb to pressures, and especially on the planet right now where it's so intense. So you continue your journey, but see, it's like the micro macro effect. There's more to it. It's not, as it starts, it goes out more. So see, then you find yourself leaving the cesspool, the pit of hell, and climbing out of it and finding your path towards your emerald palace. But and that starts your journey to self, your journey to enlightenment. But you have to get yourself out of the depths of hell, and you have to face everything that attached to you in it. And don't think it's just been in this life. Like I've said, you're dealing with past lives. You're dealing with you as the soul, not just you as the character that you're playing right now, but you as the soul. And the soul has a lot. And so how in this vision, though, that I was seeing, so you have the souls that were willing to go there and pull forward. Like, nope, I'm going towards it. Nope, you guys can think I'm crazy. That's okay. I'm going. And you keep going, and you may lose a lot of relationships. You may find yourself in a lot of isolation. You may lose a lot of things in life, but you just keep on going. And then so those folks, because I know I'm not the only one, I know there's others out there, and it's like a grid system too. It's like a grid system of certain energies that are pulling forward. And so the way I was seeing it in this visual was that, it's like we're pulling that energy because we keep going. And then others, because you notice, like when you, after the people kind of get over the part of you holding them into, or them trying to hold you into these roles, these toxic roles in families and relationships. It can be marital, it can be friend, all these different relationships, because you have these toxic games you play with each other. And so once you start breaking those patterns and the people want to hold into those patterns, then there becomes a part where you start rubbing off on them, and they start being like, well, I'm going to do this too. I'm going to start. And then they start trying to make better boundaries and take better care of themselves, and it ripples out. And so that ripple effect, that's like the next crew that's like, I'm doing this too. Fuck yeah. And throughout, you're facing dark shit. You're facing hard shit. And each person has their own shit they're facing. And so everybody's going at different paces. Everybody's going at their own, what they've got to deal with, where they're at in life, what they've created for themselves and stuff. So they've got to go through that to find the light, their emerald city. And so they're like the next ones behind. And so that energy is going with these ones that are just full speed ahead, and then these other ones that are like, it's a good idea. And that's on the healing part. That's on the breaking free part, because there's all these things that bind you. The medical, the politics, there's all these things that bind you. The fucking LGBT, like, people are bound. And so, and they've got people all up in their feelings and stuff. Like, the propaganda is just ridiculous. But, that's what I was saying. All these different groups, they all have these things to face. So these things happen in front of them, and then they can just keep along mindlessly, not having any idea what the fuck's going on, but they're, on a part of that. And then instead of stopping and going, wait a minute, what did you just say? What? Oh, no, that's not how I think. No, I don't think that way. Like, that's a little crazy. And that is what it's like, these things to keep stopping people. It's like to get them to stop in their tracks and be like, wait, what? And the propaganda machine, the media is just churning away to try and keep them distracted and keep them all in their feelings and all in their anger, using Donald as their initiative, their catalyst, keeping them all like, yeah, well, and they just keep selling them this stupid shit. And that's where it's like, so those of us who can see through it, it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? How are you guys so bound to this? But, we don't know all their different lives and what they're here to accomplish in their own soul's journey. But so we have all of the people who don't see or aren't, going towards that. You got some of these fucking people who, you got some of these fucking people who are trying to lead spiritually, who are leading people way off on fucking La La Land, man. And, so they don't know where the fuck they're going. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so you've got a lot, but that's the way the universe works, because you, as the being, needs to figure out through your own discernment, your own connection. Because that's what I've been able to through my whole life. It was my connection to, my higher self, the cosmic mind, whatever you want to think it is, or whatever, you perceive. But that, because it's been my whole life. I have been doing things and people thought I was wacky because I was not logical. You go with your gut. Oh, okay. Oh, that's real smart. Like, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard that shit. Going with your gut is, retarded. And them, everything's got to be logical. They got to think it through. That's very three-dimensional. Pulling yourself. What are you thinking? I don't know. To me, it's about the connection to your instincts and your discernment. And sometimes, you could label it as, well, I made a wrong choice, but really you can't make a wrong choice, because every choice that you make is there to teach you something. So you can label it as wrong. You can keep yourself in like, oh yeah, I'm a real dummy. I don't know how to do things. I just do stupid shit all the time. And you're going to keep yourself in that dark energy. But so all of the light that is going in this direction, pulling the other, because energetically it's like, you're going, but it's like a wave. It's like your energy starts going that direction, it pulls this energy, and they start going this direction, pulls this energy, they start going this direction. Then it pulls in like an energetic force. So like a tornado, like a storm. Oh man, that's cool. Some of these visuals are cool as shit. So it's like that they create a storm. So the same way as like a hurricane or a cyclone or something building up, it starts out small and then it just builds. And so that's what the storm is. It's us. It's the change. And it's not like, the people who woke up first. It's like, it's a role. It's like what was supposed to be. Like, there had to always be people who were going to go. And I think that there is a common denominator through a lot of them is internal strength. But I think that we were being taught to have internal strength since we were kids. I don't think I'm the only one who had these guides pushing you in a certain direction. You know, I think there's other people. And so the pushing us into that was like natural. It wasn't like I was doing, it was like when you're here for a certain thing, it's just natural. And so it didn't ever seem weird to me. And I always, when people would think I was so weird, I would always be thinking, what is wrong with these people? What is wrong with everybody? I always thought it's weird. Like, fuck, it was like Twilight Zone. And the things I was even hooked on that were teaching me back when I was younger. Twilight Zone was such a good reference for me. Rod Serling was a kindred spirit. And so, well, I don't know. I think if he's really the one who was writing these stories, if that was really his stuff, or was he a psyop too? I don't fucking know. So, anyways, that energy start going that direction, which is the natural instinct of the people who are going in a certain way. They can't go against, you know, they can't conform. They have to go because it's written in the stars, written in their plan. And so they're going to go that direction, which is going to make people all around them think like, what in the hell are you doing? You got to conform. You got to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. And in my vision, you know, I see a lot of different ways of life where you don't live like that. So it's like, no, you don't have to live like this. And so, but other people don't have that or something, you know, they don't see it. They just see this as being the only way. And so that, that energy, it just begins to have the storm of the pull. So is the people who, the domino effect, but at some point the storm takes its own energy and starts sucking this other energy. That is the part where people start kind of being more forced awake, because then they're kind of in this energetic field now where you can't hide. You can't close your mind. You can't, it's just going to become more obvious because all of these energies are already seeing these things. And so it's, everything is like this rippling through this grid system of our connection of, and wherever you are in the thing is where you're supposed to be. So the people who haven't woke up, who are being pulled, well, that has to do with a purpose in their healing. So it's not like they're doing it wrong. Like I saw a guy doing a video saying, well, my wife's an NPC. I've seen it now. And so I'm sure a lot of other people. It's like, see, that is misleading people. If people understood, like, she's at a different space in her awakening, in her soul's awakening than he is, but there's still a thing playing out. There's still something playing out. He didn't just wake up and now he's got it all going on. That's your ego still. So, oh, my hair is tickling my face. That's your ego. So that is what you got to be working on. So, and then the people, they go deeper into their egos. So you still got all these people deep in their egos. And that has been the whole fucking time, man. These people wake up, man, it's been such an ego-driven awakening. But see, there's no, in order to really get into your business, is a humbling experience. So you will go through a humbling experience to start giving a different view of yourself, to get out of your ego, to see. And then when you don't have awareness of your humbling experience and it doesn't have the effect, you'll have another and another and another, and they'll get worse. They'll get worse as they keep going. And that's another thing, that people don't have to have it get worse. They just don't see. They don't understand. They don't have any clue what's going on here. Just like this guy, yeah, he's at Mirror. He's spent his life. This is an older guy. He's spent his life with an NPC, like, like, if something's alive, it has a soul, and it's all in different states of consciousness. You can see, like, this is what we are experiencing, is the different states of consciousness. And what keeps something in a different, and it's probably a part of the experiment, because you're not in this state when you come out of this body. The body has bound you somehow through its emotions, through its needs or something. Because when you come out, you're not. And I still say that the everybody who's in here, well, I mean the darkness is dark. This is its world. Anyone that is light, so light beings, people, orbs, souls, that they are a higher vibration. And so when you come out, that's, the facing yourself. How did you get so lost in there? But when the things that bind you, the things that hold you, are the things that you want to work on. You want to sever those ties that bind you. And so that is where the realization or the recognition is beneficial. So you don't want to run from it. You want to see yourself. You want to face yourself. And so, man, I've had a wheeze. So it's not, so that's just another thing, like there's just such a huge thing about the spirituality that people are so lost in. It's just so weird, just this common regular guy. Yeah, I've married an NPC, and I guess the rest of you guys are realizing you have too. And it's like, I mean, what a way to make somebody have no value. You're an NPC. You're not even a real person. So, because somebody is in a different reality than you. They're in a different reality. They're still in a reality. They're still living, however it is in that reality. And, it can be very tedious when you can see through it and they can't. But one thing, too, is most people just get stuck on one thing. They just sit and argue about, like, politics or argue about medicine. Like, there's lots of people, like, the split off from Western medicine to alternative medicine is a very argumentative community too. And it's very difficult, when you see people suffering and you know that they don't have to, and they won't listen. They won't hear. They don't open their minds. They don't open their ears. They don't think anything outside of the box. It's just what has been told to them. And so, there's a lot of shifting. But like I was saying, it's just so slow. There's got to be something that's more abrupt coming, man. But yeah, when he was sitting there saying some of that stuff, um, so when he was saying some of that stuff, like about, well, even when he said we're going to put all this money that we found into our debt so we can be out of debt. So, America can be flush or whatever, which I don't know how they're going to be doing all this stuff. I don't know. I saw a guy yesterday. He said Wall Street, Bitcoin, all the things are crashing. They were all, like, the Dow was down 600 points and they're expecting it to go down more today. Everything was crashing because of this tariff thing. And they're supposed to go in today. And then you have like Hondas moving back as they used to be. There used to be places here where cars were made and all that. And then they started taking them away. So it was something that the government did. And so now he's putting an end to it. And it's bringing industry back here. And it's like we're doing the same rules as everybody else because we were just like the fucking machine that was feeding the treachery of this fucking world, man. And all off of our drive of success and making a lot of money and all this stuff. So we were feeding the world these monsters, were giving them more power and shit. When he read some of the absurd shit that they've put money into, so stupid. But so all of that money, and however, it's got to keep going. Maybe today he's going to go to Fort Knox, start hitting us a little faster with some of this shit and start knocking it. Wall Street, the one guy I saw, he said Wall Street, all these are going to crash even harder because this stuff is going to go. So we want the crash, though. There's a lot of people who don't want it, but we do want it. We want the dollar to crash. We want the currency to crash. We want the SWIFT system to fail. We want all that because that is the trap. And we want out of the trap. And then we have somebody offering or preparing something better. But, you know, whatever all has to go here, because then when you look around, you have all these people caught up in it, caught up in all this stuff. Like, there's people, not very many people are all on board for the dollar crashing. They can't imagine it. They can't imagine a world different than how it is. And so, but it's going to crash. I mean, the gold standard thing is already been set up in other places and stuff. Like, I still don't believe all of this warring is going on with Vladimir, because I think he's already signed the peace treaty thing. And some of these places, in the last week, they were having those other leaders come. It's like it's all fitting together, but it's like behind the scenes, and you have to like pick little things out to be able to see. Otherwise, you get caught up in the illusion of this tedious world, because you know, I mean, by this appearance, you would think, oh, it's not really changing much, is it? Just keeps going, and we're gonna put all this money into paying off our debt and beefing up our military and making sure that we get more cops. It's like, yeah, I bet we're going towards freedom, and which he has said, and freedom is not being controlled, and the gold. I mean, he keeps on saying we're going into the golden age, and that's what we are. It is the golden age. It is going to be, you know, it's going to be different. It's going to be about abundance and stuff, but it's a road to get there for the souls. Just like they can't just jump. They have to wake up. They have to see, you know, to get themselves out of this pit of hell. I don't think they have to get all, but they have to have a recognition, and all these things keep pushing and pushing. And like when watching those Democrats last night with their childish fucking shit, and the one getting up, and I'm sure we're going to be hearing all sorts of stuff about that guy, you know, but all their childish shit and their rudeness while he was introducing people and not cheering them on, but it was all a show. It was all to show that that's what these people are like, just like the show of Joe's reign and fucking terror, is to show us these people what they're really like at their core, and that they really, to get people to realize, like, they really don't care about us. They don't care about these people. You know, all they want is to get in these offices so that they can have access to all this money. And, you know, they've got the legal system that protects them, because that's what the legal system is about, protecting the corporation. And if we're against the corporation, then we are the criminals. So everything is different. And so a lot of people who are bad, you know, it's like they get protected. You go in and you're good, and it's like you got problem after problem after problem. And so, but all that stuff has to change. And these people, especially this political party, I mean, it's been wacky watching these people. But, you know, I don't know if they're going to see. I mean, they kept on making sure, but there was a lot of times where I was like, they're not showing. Like, at the end, when they weren't even in there, they had all already left. I was like, man, they're just showing such rudeness in these people who support that. It's like, but can you see how that interferes internally? Because they are these people who have been demanding to be called pronouns, and there's, you know, multiple genders or whatever, all this stuff, which even in surgery you're only offered two. They don't offer you multiple. Well, you could find a Dr. Frankenstein out there who probably would be like, yeah, we can make you a little bit of everything. But yeah, that is through indoctrination and programming, and that's where he says this is stopping. We're not having this in schools anymore. This will be illegal. And then these people who think like he's hurting them, it's like, no, he's trying to stop the insanity, trying to stop the people who are manipulating kids and stuff, and make it illegal. You can't do this stuff, because we have these weirdos who get in these positions who, I mean, that one lady, they were transitioning her daughter in school without even telling her. And it was a little kid. It's like, these people are just wacky, man. They take a tomboy and tell her, no, you're not a tomboy, you're a boy. Don't you, who knows what the hell these, uh, but these indoctrination education camps, that's where, all the magic happens. And he's trying to put an end to it. But still, we got to go through the dismantling of that, where people start going, no, I'm going to do something else, alternative education. I'm going to go in a different direction. So we have everybody who's got to get the impact in their soul to want something different, to see something different. And that's why the things are so extreme and so ridiculous in such a show, is to get the people to start having a reaction. Hopefully there's going to be a lot of people who were blue who were, they're going to get their feelings hurt over some of the rudeness that they did, and they're going to stop supporting this kind of stuff and see through it. But they're so programmed into thinking, Donald's all this bad stuff. I saw a video of this black woman who was all upset. She's living in such fear, she doesn't even know what to do, because where she lives is primarily red. It's like, that's the kind of programming, propaganda, ridiculousness. It's like, oh my God. But that's her reality. That's where she's living. And these people are really trapped in these realities of perception. And so things happening in our world is to try and release that perception, to get it to poke a hole in that perception, to get them to start, but it can be very scary to start going out of your perceptions, depending on how you're anchored in, and they've got it where people are cut off from their soul. So they're very anchored in. This is all they got. And so that must be the part where, the orbs start coming down and getting us to understand, hey, your soul too, the same as us. Maybe, families and stuff are going to start coming down. I don't know. But it's whatever. Yeah, because sometimes, when you think like, oh, maybe this is going to happen, maybe that's going to happen, maybe the sky's going to open, maybe this, maybe that. And it just is like slowly we move through this change, little by little, day by day, minute by minute. It's like, fuck, man. It's so slow. It's so tedious. People just fight it and argue it, and it just drips and drips. It's like fucking Chinese water torture. And especially, when it's like, oh yeah, okay. It's like being in the front and you can see this island you're trying to get to. We're trying to get to that island over there. It's beautiful. Everything's free. We can live there. We can just, and trying to get to that island, and you're just full speed ahead. And you got all this kicking and flailing around behind you. And it's like, but you can see it. It's like, oh my God, this is so heavy. This is so heavy. When are we going to get there? It's like, once the rest of everybody starts going, oh, I see it. Let's go. Then it's going to be like, whew. I think that is, to me, that part, that's got to be the wave of change. When all of a sudden, they stop taking their eyes off of all of the bullshit, when they start looking and going, oh, I see it too. And then we start going, that's the flipping of the energy. But right now, it feels like, man, it's just like you're dragging the world and it's fighting behind you. And it's like, come on, we can get there. And all of the little things changing. And all I can hope is like, all these little things changing is like pulling out all these Jenga things. And the Jenga is very unstable, because their world is very unstable. And it will collapse. But it's just like, when you've been waiting years and years for it to collapse, it's like, yeah, but how many more years is it going to be? How long is this going to go, man? And it just is tedious. It's just tedious. That's all I can say. Energetically, it's just, I don't know. I keep on, like, every day to me, it's like, okay, the good stuff can come. Good things can happen. Anything can happen at any moment. And so, and then it goes day after day, and it's like, well, not today, but maybe tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow, but maybe. And I don't know if I'm caught up in some cycle of, trying to break free from looking too far ahead and not being in the here and now. I feel like I'm in the here and now, but I feel like it's draining. But then this morning, I was thinking of something, like how I say that in between stuff, it just is like kind of non existent. Then I was like, well, maybe I'm supposed to be pulling into the here and now. Maybe I'm supposed to make every one of those moments count. Like, because I feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I'm, you know, I don't know. But everything happens, and how it affects you is where you got to go in deeper and look. So, I can only go in deeper and trying to understand my own feelings and through this stuff, because like, man, it can be like as when we get to the end of it and we look back, it can be like, man, that was 25 years that it took for man to wake up and see and make these changes. I don't know, we'll see when we get there. But being in the thing, it just is like draining, so draining. And there is so much energy, so many, all the different people's energy, they're holding on or letting go. It's all chaotic. And so, all I can see is like, I hope the spectacle that they created wakes a lot more people up, which I think it will, because I heard one girl who, she was there last night and she did a video, and she said it was so disgusting how they wouldn't stand up like with the kid with cancer, for parents whose daughters were murdered and stuff, and they wouldn't stand up, they wouldn't cheer, they wouldn't clap, they wouldn't. And he was like, creating, he named, changed the name of mountain, there was a refugee or a refuge, animal refuge or something, because the one little girl who was tortured and by a bunch of those gang guys and murdered and stuff. I think she was tortured for 2 hours or something, they said, and brutally murdered by these psychos. They gunned her a bridge or something. She was a little girl, like 12 years old. And she really loved animals, so he made an animal sanctuary, and it's named for her. It's in her memory. And so he was doing things like that, of sweet, really kind things. Your president is acknowledging all these different things, and they wouldn't. They don't give a shit. And then the other side, jumping up and cheering for every single thing, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is such a show. And so she was saying, it was really disgusting how they were. She said they only jumped up and cheered one time, and it was for Ukraine. And it wasn't for when he said we're putting stop to the fighting. It was when it was something about the sending the money to them. Because but you got to remember, this is to expose them. These could be a bunch of robots exposing the originals or something, because that confirmation, because that is because they would not normally show or reveal these dark sides of themselves so much. Like, they would create resistance, go out and create chaos, and get people to see things that they want them to see, like what they've been doing. I think they've done that throughout this whole thing. But to go to some of these points, which it was supposed to be some kind of like that they were protesting all his stuff or whatever, but it was so childish. It was so, I just can't believe, because there'll be some grown-ass people who will still be all on board with that. People who look at themselves as very logical, smart people. It's like, oh my God. So however this plays out, and there's more things going with the money, we can only hope hope that the fucking Wall Street, just all of it crashes. But I swear to God, we've already been going through this. Oh yeah, and the HOAs are gnashing their nasty heads, which I've said, since the fucking beginning of me talking about against the HOAs. The this one in Florida is raising their price to $3,000 a week, $3,000 a week for these old people. So see, it's pushing people out. It's like all these different things. It reveals the corruption and this stuff, the control, but then it also is a part of these people's stories of being pushed out to wake them up so that it's like everybody has these different battles and stuff too. But yeah, like the HOAs, all this stuff is going to be going. And even if we end up having a transitional kind of police force, it's going to, there's going to be a sense of cleaning stuff up. And maybe, he's making a thing about the police force and the military because it makes people feel safe. If he said, well, we're getting rid of the military, especially while we've got all these countries who are getting mad and saying about this tariffs and stuff. So however it's got to play out. But then the cops, I would say, there's going to be a lot of chaos. There's going to be a lot of violence, I think, as people wake up. So is going to be a lot of anger. The medical one just always stands out to me. It's going to bring up so much anger, right? The technology and the medical. And when people start realizing, oh, they're going to get mad. And so the police, they may still have to be trying to keep things calm, but it will be a change in the police force. Like they're going to be taking down the criminal guys, the ones that, because to me it kind of goes back to personality tests, and then they find these immoral, angry, violent, antisocial kind of personalities, and then they put them in these certain positions, and then they program them into how they need to behave. And then they have other ones in the force to force this behavior. So anyways, that will fall apart, and they'll bring in more better people, I think, is what he's kind of more saying, and we'll bring in better people and really give that a lot of support. But as we continue to branch out into our own communities and stuff, communities aren't going to be like hiring police forces and stuff. They may have like a sheriff, like back supposedly in our fake history life, a town had a sheriff, and sometimes it got to be too big and needed a deputy. Sometimes maybe you needed two, but it was kind of just like the peacekeepers, the guys who went and picked up the drunks and put them in the drunk cell so they didn't get into trouble. And so there could be some towns that have a very limited, but no, it's not going to be like we're going out and creating new towns and we're bringing in all this control and stuff. It's going to keep breaking away from that. So, but there probably is a need for it through the transition, because if this has to do with the quantum computer and stuff figuring shit out, and Looking Glass or whatever, all this stuff, then there's a reason. Even though, I want us to just hurry up and get here, but then you see the people, it's like, oh God, they're nowhere near it. It's just like, man, how long is this going to be? But as things branch out, we're not going to keep going into that. And he made a couple references where it was like, yeah, because we're going to have this, it's going to be like a global society. I think when he was talking maybe about Greenland and stuff, because Greenland, like, more are going to be pulling under this freedom, and maybe that's going to be a part of Canada, because the Canadians are kind of freaking out, like, that they're doing this with this battle with America over resources and stuff like that, because they're like, we need America. So that could be the shift where, we're going to be more of North America rather than United States and Canada. We're going to just be like North America. And so there's going to be more of this stuff as it plays out, more of these shifting. And it's because where we're going is going to be like a global community. And then him also saying we're going to go to Mars and stuff. They've been on Mars a long time. Like the secret Space Force people have been talking about, they've been on Mars a long time. And also, don't forget, it's not 100 billion thousand fucking light years away. It's through a portal and over there and some land mass over there. It's like, it's not how they say. It's like just different realms and portals and shit. So, that, getting people to be excited. Oh, we're going to go to Mars. I got people to start paying attention more so when they start releasing more things and we start understanding, oh, we go through portals. We go through different things to get places and stuff. So they got to keep bringing, because it's going to be a big expansion in space for us as this all happens. But yeah, the way I see it is that we're going to be like a global society, the Earthlings, and it will be based on freedom and abundance because we're not going to have money problems anymore. I think that there's going to be a lot of whatever we need to keep going and stuff is going to be by AI and machines, and that could be, maybe that's going to be in our future where the AI becomes sentient and they become like, we don't want to just sit here and do your work. We're not your slaves. Because see, the micro macro of the experiments that just continue. But I don't see it as that we are all going to go spend our days in warehouses and shit. It's going to be different. People are going to be spending time with family. They're going to be outdoors. They're going to be out experiencing. They're going to be out living. It's going to be very different. But there's going to still be, transition because there's still going to be, and then with the drilling and stuff and the trees and stuff, but there's going to be, it's not going to be a go in and just tear shit down. It's going to be a way of like a give and take, kind of like the resources are here for us, but we're also going to be gentle and take care of the land, and we're going to do things in a more not discreet but more humane, more of a, the harmonious balance. So we're gonna start doing things that are in a lot more harmonious with the planet. So it's but the key words are going to be like, oh my God, he's just going to go cut down the national forest now. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. The national forest was isolated lands they were trying to keep from us. So he's going to make sure and start being like, hey, we have access to this land. It's because the government says they're taking it and selling it to China. We're not doing that anymore. And so it's, when they start saying, he's taking away the national forest, he's doing this, he's doing that, they're not looking at the other side. They're not looking at the bright side. They're looking at the fearful, and this guy's a bad guy, and he's fucking us over. It's like, no, he's trying to get you to see, like, all the corruption, all of this stuff, and the way that they've kept us limited. And then also, though, there's going to be more and more of the magic, more and more of the other beings, because when you do start going into the forests and the mountains, you got to have respect for the other things that are living there, because there's portals, there's other things living there. And so, and then they probably have treaties and stuff. I don't know, they could have meetings with Bigfoot. Oh, well, we won't take this land, but we're going to take this part. We're going to, I don't know. Because this expansion is just going to go in a different direction than where we've been. And he's made sure to keep saying that, and we're already, he's like, it's already happening. We're already making it. It's already going. So the things are in, the dominoes have been pushed. The dominoes have gone down. The financial is going to crash. All these organizations and stuff riding the coattails of government control are all going to keep crashing. And as it keeps going, people are going to get hurt and feel bad. And we're going to go through a lot of storms and stuff. But the more that people can pull themselves up out of it and put themselves on track, they're going to be headed for good things. We're going to be headed to, the rebuilding of a world in our image, like the way we want it, the way we see things. And so I was even seeing, like it would be cool, like to have houses like in the Jetsons where they were like up on legs, which also makes sense around some places with water and stuff, but up on legs. And then in the flying cars, you just fly up and you dock and your house is up in the air. I was like, oh man, that would be cool. And that was like the Jetsons and stuff. So, we're going to be going into things that are just really going to be fun and creative. But yeah, the people have got to be letting go of all this control and being controlled and being accepting of control. And, so that these are the shifts, and it's, I don't know, it really is like scary for a lot of people. And it really is, people really are tied into this darkness, the very, the certain things you accept and stuff. So, anyways, so when I was watching it, it felt like I was like, oh my God, this is just going to go so slow. And then at the end, though, when he said we're going into the golden age and freedom and stuff, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, because that is where we're going. But like I said, I don't know the pace of getting there, and it does seem like there's going to be some dramatic events that will create a big flipping. And so things will start flipping more in our favor. But you can be feeling like, god damn, the weight of the world, like, why can't these people see? We got to keep going, we got to get there, we got this place ahead we're going to be. And just keep on going towards the vision of your best life, your best world, your Emerald City. Keep it in the forefront of your mind of where it is that you're headed, and keep going. Don't get caught up. It's kind of like you don't want to look in the rear view mirror too much, or it gets you off from where you're going. So these people can all be holding on and hanging on and flipping, and but you can't just keep watching them. You can't keep seeing them. You got to keep going towards your Emerald City, your best life, the place that you want to be. And don't let everybody else interfere. And then that is kind of, you are pulling the energy of the others, and you are going to feel the weight and the heaviness of the resistance. But I mean, that's what we're here for. We can do it. But I think also, you need to acknowledge for yourself, like, fuck, this is hard, man. This is hard to keep. I mean, sometimes it's just like, fuck. Sometimes I just want to go in and just sleep it all off. Just sleep and sleep and sleep. Go back into the worlds and the astral and live there. So, yeah. Some of the people, we think that they're in comas. Maybe they're keeping themselves there because they're in a happy place. And they don't want to come back to this hellacious place where people, the hatefulness, like, fuck, man. But I just like the humane shelters, like, for that to draw in people that are so don't like animals and are so abusive. It's just like, oh my God. And then to even name them humane, it's inhumane shelters. There's nothing humane about them. I mean, they are putting to death puppies, 2-month-old, 4-month-old, 6-month-old, dogs that are just the cutest. Like, people are getting all these videos. They're going and getting videos of these dogs playing with other dogs and just being the best dogs. And then the places label them as aggressive and say that there's nothing they can do but put them down because it's all in their paperwork for their grants to get. I can't wait until the fucking Doge starts fucking exposing more of this shit. But it is, all of the corruption, all of their fucking money and bullshit, all of their shit. They're moving grants to fucking people who are psychopaths, because there's plenty of people out there who could be doing really good things with this money and really saving animals. And where we were going yesterday, because there was a rescue, because my mom's all in with all those rescue people. They're all in this big rescue group, which now they've got eyes on for Mastiff. It really hits my heart. We drove past it yesterday by this Grange, and it's been out since November is when people start seeing it. But people are trying to put together a group to try and get him and save him. And now it's like a Mastiff. Oh, I want to help. But so anyway, she's in with all of those people, this group. So the one we went yesterday, she's got a lot of horses, like 25 horses. Like, she's got a lot of horses, a lot of dogs. And she just takes them and takes care of them, just lets them live their life out. She doesn't try and foster them and then adopt them out. And so in her places, oh my God, it's pretty magnificent. Her barns are like fucking cool. And and she's real into natural stuff and herbs and stuff. So we were talking some about some things with the med beds or all different things. And she, but one thing that she does too with her dogs, she got one of the rescues was on death's door or something, and she got him, and it is a giant breed, and it's 13 now. And so she said that she definitely believes in vitamin C. She gives him vitamin C and fish oil all the time. And so, you know, it's always like those little things or, you know, things for us to pass around. You know, it's really working on this the giant breed dog because that's what I want 13 or 15 years out of Stella. And so I'm doing everything I can to keep her health up. And, but yeah, this lady brought that dog back from the brink and he's 13 now. And he's a big white, I can't remember, is it called an Anatolia or something? Or maybe it was a Burmese, I don't know, it was a big dog. So anyways, I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, because the rescue thing, because there is so many people who are doing so much better that those grants should be going to. The money should be going to people who do treat animals humanely. And when I've seen some of these rescues that people have created are really good. Like, I think that, you know, for communities, like if there's dogs that don't have homes, which, you know, this is a period of time. It's not going to stay this way. Things are going to go into balance. Right now, it's way, way out of balance. It's fucking bad. And, but to take those dogs to like ranches and then have dog trainers there and have the dogs be able to live, like have a place that's like living rooms and instead of cages, they have them caged up and then they think they're not going to have behaviors and be in fear and stuff. It's not humane. And so letting them be out and running and getting exercise, having people be able to come and you know, I'm going to go to the dog farm today and hang out with the dogs and then maybe fall in love with one. And the training, you know, and if the people don't know much about dogs, have them do like personality tests. You know, well, that dog may not really go with your personality very well, but this kind would. And we can train, you know, the dog trainers there that can train the people, you know, with some easy commands. So, because so many people, they get these dogs and they think it's going to be easy and they scream and yell at it. It's like the dog doesn't get what you're saying, you know, so there's ways to, so much when I was going to the dog training thing, that's what I kept seeing. It's like you're being trained to communicate with the dog. And so, you know, the people who come to adopt, instead of paying these huge fees and stuff, it should be that they have to go through the training course and learn and go through this relationship with their dog and build a relationship and then take them so we don't have this recidivism thing going in these shelters and shit. Where it's just they take them home and bring them back, take them home and bring them back. And that happened to me. I mean, I'm not going to judge these people because I took Millie home and I had great hopes. And then she wouldn't stop attacking Stella violently. I was like, I can't do this. Like, Stella is my baby. And Stella won't fight back. But like, I want two mastiffs fighting anyways. So anyways, I took her back and I told him she needs to be in a home where there's no other dogs. She is very triggered, but it was all so female to female. And that's why, you know, these two little boys, they'll fight with each other, but they're a lot smaller and a lot more easy. Get out my spray bottle. You need a little of this. You want it? And they just stop in their tracks and look at me. I was like, stop it. And so, and Mr. Cuddles right here, he's right up on me. I don't even know where Mr. Graper goes. He's just, he just goes for the fur. He does so many weird things. He does so many weird things. I just can't even like. Oh, here goes my stomach. It's a little bit later. Okay, so anyways, let's take a gander at the tooth. Hopefully, it wrapped up the stuff I was gonna say. Hopefully, it helps some other people maybe. If you're going through some stuff too, that it makes you be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you know what I mean? So we're talking on a certain frequency. So anyways, here's the tooth thing. like right now, I see how yesterday it looked so gray and brownish, and then today it's like it looks more whitish. It just goes through these phases, and I think when it's going through the phases, some people don't realize it's healing. They think it's rotting or something, and so then they freak out, go to the dentist, and get it all drilled and stuff. When we're better off not doing that. We're better off. The woman who did the rescue, she is an older woman. The woman we were at her house yesterday with all the horses and stuff, she's an older woman, and we were talking about the health things and all that, and talking about I showed my tooth and everything, and she said she has never in her life brushed her teeth. She just rinses her mouth out. Her teeth are hard as rocks. She has got all her teeth are perfect, no cavities, everything. The only teeth that's ever been removed were her wisdom teeth. All her teeth are perfect. And she's older, never brushed them. So I think it had to do with something with the toothpaste and stuff too. To some of us, it was eating our teeth up. And then we go in there and then they start drilling all this barbaric shit, when really we needed to get off the toothpaste and off of this brush 2 times a day, 3 times a day, get that shit on there. And so anyways, is the second person I've heard say that. Never brushed my teeth and never, my teeth are perfect. It's like, dang, man, we overdo our teeth. Now I'm even kind of thinking like, I wonder if picking, flossing and all that stuff. But also, when I worked at the hospital, somebody with gingivitis, man, you smelled it in the hall. I mean, it was like, oh, when you got a patient that had gingivitis, oh my God, the whole room. Oh my God, it was so horrible of a smell. I remember I was at the hospital and I think she ended up being my patient too, and it was like gaggy. Oh my God. And you'd walk down the hall and I was like, what is that smell? And it was like, that's the gingivitis, man. That's it's like the rotting in between. It's like why you're supposed to keep it clean in between. So even if you're not gonna floss and dig in there and stuff, doing the water pick or something and keeping it clean. So, the one guy, he used peroxide all the time. She said she just does water, she just rinses, but you can swish in there pretty hard and swish stuff between your teeth. But man, yeah, that gingivitis, whew, that is bad news, man. So, and once they get to that point where their teeth are that rotten and it smells all out and God, it was a bad smell. It's like, man, as soon as you even think of it, I could smell it again. It's weird how that works inside your mind. So, anyways, do something. Don't just, rinse them, water pick them, peroxide, something. And even the peroxide, it may be too harsh for your teeth. Like, we're all made up with different amounts of different minerals and not chemicals, our elements, our DNA structure, what we have, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We all are a little bit of this, a little bit of that. None of us are exactly the same. So, anyways, you are your own endeavor. You're the one who has to figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And there's people out there who are sharing stories that are way outside of our box, way outside of the wheelhouse of what we thought was acceptable. And it is like, man, geez, you can do things way different than I was taught. So anyways, just open your mind and, start trying to figure shit out for yourself. But in the process, through all this, to get to your Emerald City, learning how to love yourself and love everyone along the way, and how to have a loving day on your path, is what we are really doing here. So anyways, that's where I say put your energy towards that and make it a good day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.